We are good, and, well, good morning, and welcome to the Breakfast Club, and welcome everybody, and you guys here on the call with us, here on the panel, Joe and Boomer and Dr. Dennis. We had a pretty good night last night. I want to just say good morning to everybody and what we're going to handle today. I want to go to Joe Norman first. Joe, do we have any old business we want to take care of? Anything you need to remind us of, or any updates or anything like that?
Old business, no. Updates, yes. If you check your back office, you'll see the first glimpse of the new software, which displays where it has a line item for your new contracts for this commission cycle. You'll see an asterisk there. It says these are contracts of direct referrals this pay period or this period. In other words, these are only your personally sponsored people that have a monthly purchase plan. That's what that number is. You're also going to see new line items right under that for total contracts in your entire organization. You'll see a number for that. And you'll also be able to go into your genealogy and go to your table view and drill down, and instead of just seeing points on your level 1, we're supposed to be able to see points drilling all the way down. In other words, you're going to see who's doing what, who's buying gold and who's not. And I think that's very exciting. So that's coming and maybe in the next few hours. So very exciting stuff.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, go back to a few notes here. Let me just say congratulations, actually, to Cindy Belmonte, Deanna Kennedy. I'll tell you what, this call last night was really professional. Cindy really knows how to, and now she is very, very special in the interview category. She knows how to conduct that call. I mean, she's a real leader, and Deanna and her just took charge last night and discussed a few things I was not aware of. So if you haven't done that, listen to that. You didn't get on the call. Our goal is for you to support this call. And I'll tell you why. I learned a lot last night, Joe. I learned that, not only did I know that women and men think differently, but I didn't realize how vital it would be in a business like this when you're talking to a woman, talking to a man, how much different it is. And Deanna made us very well aware of that, plus giving us instructions on finding business people, and that was exciting. So if you haven't listened to that call, you need to listen to it and go to mykvgold.us, and you'll find the recording there. And thank you, Terry.
Not yet.
Oh, it's not there yet? Somebody listened to it somewhere.
Well, I'm waiting. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. I mean, this thing is an overnight sensation, and we're waiting for the embed code to put it at MyK. But it will be. It'll be there under the recorded videos. So that will be there later today.
Well, that call is going to be on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, so mark your calendars for October the 8th. It's possible that would at that time be a live broadcast. I don't know that for sure right now. They're working on that. Either way, it'll still be a call-in. Regardless, you'll be able to hear what's going on. But I was excited to hear that information last night. And anyway, what I wanted to talk about, Joe, was I have from my networking days, we have two categories: why people succeed in networking and why people fail in network marketing. And I wanted to cover a few things today, and we can comment on these. There's 50 reasons listed why people fail in networking. And I think that you can turn this into a positive by identifying what may be one of your problems if you're having a problem. I think everybody has some category that they need improvement on. So I wanted to cover something. If you look at conventional business, you will find out that most businesses fail because of undercapitalization. It means they don't have enough money to sustain their business for 5 years. They hope that business goes well, and they open their doors without enough money to cover expenses until they start making a profit. And it takes a few years for that to happen in most capitalization is the number one reason, and believe it or not, the number two reason listed in conventional business is poor record keeping. People being unorganized, not keeping track of their business on paper. And so they're the two reasons. But when you go to networking, those two are relevant, but they're not listed as the top reason. And I believe the top reason for people not making it, you mentioned this yesterday, Joe, was they don't have any written goals. And that means that a daily planner every single solitary day that you have work. You should be listing your plan for the day, things to accomplish, checking them off as you accomplish them. And if you don't, you move them forward. What I do, Joe, is I keep two books. I keep a list, a running list in a copybook, an old-fashioned copybook. I list everything. I keep adding to my list. And I take from there, I move it over to my daily planner. That's what I do every day. In fact, I was taught by Safford to do that before I put my head down at night. I make sure that list is updated, and I know what I'm going to do for the following day. Because I find that if I wait till the following morning, my thoughts are different. I'm not as fresh. Waking up and trying to get that organized. I'm already organized, and my day is starting. So people don't know, as far as written goals, people don't know. I heard something last night. I forget where it was, but I know what it was. It was one of the TV shows that was on. I happened to watch. I never watched this. Dr. Dennis is a fan of that. I think it was Dancing with the Stars. It was a couple of nights ago, and I just happened to be with someone who watches that, and so I watched it. One of the things someone said, or it might have been last night, I don't know, one of the shows, some kind of show like that. And one of the things the guy said was, the happiest day of my life was this, the second happiest was this, and the third happiest was this. So he named the three things, and I got to thinking, I asked myself, what was the happiest day of my life? Where was I? What was I doing? When I had the actual, if I could pinpoint the happiest day that I ever had. And so I really wanted to throw out there, Joe, a challenge to people on their own. Certainly don't have to, raise your hand and tell what it is, but I think it might be pretty important to write down what was the happiest time of your life. What was going on when that was happening? And I think that may play into what your goals may be in life. If you don't have a written goal and you don't have a reason why that you are working with KB and building a business, it may be detrimental to your future here. And I think that, again, listing that, I found it interesting that the number one reason for failure in networking was no written goals. So I think it might be appropriate for people to think about what is that real goal? What are you really after here? And what are some of your other goals? And they have to be written. Now, I was always taught to have a clear, concise mental picture of the thing you want to attain. And then, you find that in Think and Grow Rich, the book. A clear, concise mental picture and written down. So Joe, I wanted to cover that one. There's a whole bunch of these. I wanted to cover 5 of these this morning, but I want to know if you guys have a comment about these goals and how important it is to have a successful business by having your goals written.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. And I always say a mental note is worth the paper it's written on. And if you don't treat your business like a business, you're just fooling yourself. And I don't mean to talk tough, but I mean I get after my 3 kids all the time about this. Especially my oldest. She's 27 years old. She works 3 jobs. She's just super busy, but she is scatterbrained. She doesn't write things down. Boomer, we were just out in San Diego visiting Katie. First thing I did when I got there, well, we, hugged and all that. And walked into her bedroom, where's your daily planner? I did. And I looked at it, and then I gave her a big hug, and I said, atta girl, Katie, doesn't that eliminate a lot of stress from your life? Doesn't that give you the momentum as you write the things a day or 2 or 3 or a week ahead of things you're going to do tomorrow and next week? When you do those, I've taught my kids, and I've done it for years, I take a heavy black pen and I check it off. And it gives me a little adrenaline rush of a victory. It's a win. It's a small series of wins. As I go through my day and check off these things, I look back at night, I come into my man cave and look at that day of victories. It builds a winning attitude. It builds a habit of winning. It builds momentum and confidence. My favorite book says, "Cast not away your confidence because it has great reward." And confidence is built through a series of short-term successes. And I cannot stress enough how important having written goals, writing them down, and not things like, it's a good goal to, I want to be able to buy a car and a house and get married and live till I'm 90 and all that. Yeah, those are big goals. I'm talking about I write down, call Big Boomer. I write down, call Joe Shoop. I write down, like this morning, I sent out emails. I'm going on, and how many letters in the alphabet? 26? I don't even know how many letters are in the alphabet. Every day I'm going, everybody, I go into my email contact manager, and I every day I'm going to send out emails to everybody that name starts with A. And I did that Monday. Did B yesterday. Today I did C. And it's just minimum daily exposures. Like Boomer says, I'm going to do 10 before 10. In this case, I'm probably doing 100 or more before 10. Guys, you can't fail when you are doing marketing like that. And marketing is putting your message in front of eyeballs. Do most of the people read my emails? Probably not. But if 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 do, that's great. I cannot control the results, but Joe, what can I control?
Activity, my friend.
You got it.
That's
it. And you get better as you do it.
Well, it just, confidence is built through a series of short-term successes. And when you get in the habit of winning, even it's just little things, like do I feel like a failure if I don't do everything that's written in my... No, I don't, but I'm not going to, as I go into the next day, I'm looking back at that day, it's still unchecked. I really don't want to do that. And, it's an encouragement and a reminder to do it. I wouldn't have written it in there if it wasn't important. So I think a daily planner is just vital. And I'm going to just touch on one other thing real briefly here, Joe. We have never talked about the tax benefits of having a home-based business. And I know a lot of companies, that's probably the biggest thing they stress because they got a very ordinary product or ordinary, they have to stress that because it's so important. And most people that don't have a monthly purchase plan, their objection is they don't have the money. And I would bet you probably a dime to a dollar that the large majority of those people don't have a daily planner, don't have a home business tax strategy, because if they have a full-time job, and I want you to really pay close attention to this, anyone that has a full-time job where they're taking taxes out of your paycheck, Ron Mueller, my tax guru, gives a strategy in there where you can literally go into your employer and raise your exemptions by 2 or 3 and put an extra $150 to $300 in your take-home paycheck every month by that one little strategy. And that gives you the cash to buy your product, and it also gives you the reminder that I have a home-based business. How can I do that? Raise my exemptions. That means they take less taxes out of my paycheck and put more of that paycheck in my paycheck, and I don't want to end up owing taxes. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you keep good, accurate records and a good daily planner, and you demonstrate to the IRS in writing, and a daily planner is more than good enough, if you ever get audited, to prove to them that you worked a minimum of 4 hours a week. 4 documented hours a week of business-related activity opens up the entire deductions. Like, you can write off, I write off 50% of my mortgage payment. My 50% of my mortgage payment, 50% of my utilities, my phone bill, my cell phone, my utility bills, natural gas, electricity, water, sewer, trash. Why do I write off 50%? Because I have proven to the IRS, with using Ron's technique, that I use 50% of my home for business purposes. And just little things like that is what I call treating your business like a real business. Joe, what business do you know that's successful that doesn't keep good, accurate records and good, accurate tax records?
No, there isn't any. That's impossible.
No.
They can't do it.
So should we not treat this with any less professionalism?
Correct. Absolutely 100% correct. And many people
need to learn. Go ahead, Boomer.
And many people that joined KB with the intentions of, I'm going to make some money as opposed to just preserve my money as a customer, have not recognized the fact that shuffling papers on a desk is not going to get you what you want.
Oh, that's not business-related activity.
So in the creative phase, we really, you need to write down and schedule, literally schedule by prioritizing your hierarchy of commitments that you do in your life. You will identify the windows of time that you can work the business and keep in a happy state. You will feel successful, you will feel fulfilled, and you'll have a much happier outlook on your life than to be thinking, when am I going to do this? Well, identify it. That's exactly what you do. What do you think, Joe?
Absolutely, Dan. I mean, we could spend an entire day on this topic, and people do. I mean, some of these classes that you take for self-improvement all are around writing your goals. And whether it's improving a business or improving your life, it's all about your goals written down, clear, concise mental picture. It's something I learned way back from the early days of A.L. Williams. It's the first thing they taught there. They were, very regimented in my group, and I learned early in life. My dad was extremely regimented. It drove me crazy. I was one of your kids, Joe, until for a while that didn't see the picture for a while, and my dad was extreme. He wrote everything down, everything. I can't even tell you the stuff that my father wrote down. He had his own obituary written. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, let's go to the second one here. Here's the second thing listed why people fail in networking. Let me just say one thing about the goals. Write down your goals. Okay, so here's the second reason that's listed in this class that I took. People want to sponsor top producers, and that's in capital letters, instead of learning how to become one. It's better to be sponsored by a top producer than to sponsor one. That way you can learn how a top producer achieves, and mentioning that your sponsor is a top producer is a great recruiting tool. I think people misunderstand what they're looking for. First of all, the odds of you finding a top producer when you're not working effectively is slim to none. Probably less than that.
Yeah.
So the important part here is to become a top producer, become educated in what you're trying to achieve here. Start with your goals and then start working on what is it that you need to do here. I mean, it's not just about picking up the phone and making phone calls. There's a purpose to it. There's an end result here. You can't control that result, but you can control the activity. But what are you trying to achieve? You'll stumble upon a producer once in a while. Joe, I've been in this business 22 years. I have, other than Jim Faubert one time, I recruited Jim one time to a company, and that was extremely unusual. If people know who Jim Faubert is, you know how big that was, but it didn't really do me any good in the long run. It's a longer story. But the only time I was ever able to find, 1 Hershey, who recruited me early on to something. I think that was our first venture together was recruiting me, and then vice versa, and, little different things here at KB. But that was through networking. That was through developing the relationship. But you're out there trying to find a top producer. I mean, you shouldn't even have that on your mind. What you should be looking for is to become the producer yourself, and you will attract people. And so in all those years, Joe, of 20-some years, I've never, other than Jim at one point, it's always been, the people that really actually make money, people that know how to work, but it wasn't the big guy. I never recruited Dr. Steigerwald. He recruits me. So, and that's good, because I can say on a call, here's Dr. Steigerwald. He's been in the business almost 20 years. He's had great success. He's one of the trainers. He's one of the educators in our company, and that's how I introduce him. It's important to say, it doesn't matter if the doctor's in front of his name. What's important is his success in this business. He has a tremendous file of people who have been successful that he's able to call upon. And so I thought maybe we bring that out here, that, to become the top producer yourself, or at least get in the game where you are producing. That's
Dennis,
find one.
Thanks for saying this. I'd like to add something right there, just so there was no way on God's earth that if I had heard about this program first and I would be the top guy in the United States, I would have said no. I would wait for someone like Cheryl Ann, someone like Joe Norman, someone like Boomer, somebody that I could point up to. I would never, ever, ever, ever take that on myself. And these guys are just amazing. And these guys, I'm including Cheryl Ann as a guy now, it's terrible. But at the end of the day, if you don't have someone to point up to, you got a tough row to hoe. So you guys are spot on with this. Yep.
We were always taught to point up, Dennis. Bob Safford always taught us you have to point up. And him, as much as a big part of he was and still is at Primerica, he's always pointing up. You've got to point upwards. Anyway, that's what I wanted to. You want to comment on that, Boomer? Or?
Three-way calls are always important. They add a second point of reference that isn't coming from you to give a triangulation of information that I think is necessary to feel the synergy of team effort. Can I do the same thing? Remember this in networking. The individual that you are talking to is always subliminally evaluating their ability to do what you do and how you did it. That was the beautiful part.
Say that again, Boomer.
The individual that you are prospecting, his brain is subliminally, unconsciously evaluating his ability to do what you do and how you did it. That is why duplication is so important. That is why the 2-minute call is so powerful. Because Joe even pointed it out, here's a typical example. I'll give you an example yesterday. I went and made contact with an individual to pick up a $380,000 motorhome that he was turning in. Okay, you know my other profession, right? Okay, now, I asked him, how's your industry? He's in the aerospace tooling industry. And I said, I bet you've seen lots of change in there. Yeah. I said, so what are your plans? You're turning in the toys, right? He goes, well, yeah. I said, great to get rid of that monthly debt. That's why they make new toys later. And he laughed. And so bottom line says, so what are your plans in the next 6 months to a year? He goes, well, I'm actually looking to find another means to create an income. I said, that sounds great. If you're looking, do you mind if I bounce something off that I found extremely powerful off of you? He goes, sure, go ahead. It's a 2-minute recorded call. Here, wait 1 second. Bing, bing, bing. Play the 2-minute call. I asked him, so Ron, what's your level of interest on a scale of 1 to 10? He goes, well, gosh, I'm at least an 8. I said, great. That means you're interested, and you probably need some questions answered. What will it take you to get to be a 9? And I said,
I love that question.
Okay, because if you go to a 10, that means subliminally they're evaluating that they're trying to close them. A 9 means that you want to get them to release some information to you that doesn't put them on the hook for a close. So I learned that trick myself. And then I said, do you have the flexibility in your schedule? Be in front of a live video webcast tonight at 7 o'clock. That was yesterday to the KB Gold events. And he said, well, actually, I do not. I said, well, how about Monday? Do you have time Monday? He said, great. Listen, do you see how easy that was? Do you realize that I only played a 2-minute message for you and found out whether or not you had an interest or not? How long did that really take, the whole thing? He goes, well, it wasn't more than 3 minutes. I said, yeah, can you see how a busy person can utilize this and cracks the time? I want to lead him down the path of verbally acknowledging the simplicity of the task that I just did. And you know what? The confused mind does nothing, but a mind that knows what to expect can do much. And so I said, your level of interest was at least an 8. Now, let me ask you something, Ron. Do you think that possibly if you played that message for somebody else, that they would think that they're at least an 8 also? He goes, well, yeah, that would make sense. I said, great. So listen, do you have a pen? He says, yeah. Write this down. You ready? Go to this website, mykbgold.us, and poke your head around in there, get a few questions answered. Listen, I'll follow up with you this weekend, and we'll get on a live video webcast on Monday. How's that sound? Sounds great. So here I led somebody from one spot to know what to expect and to visually acknowledge they see the simplicity of playing a message. It is very important that however you prospect people for duplication, they can, if you lead them to where they can see what they have to do and how they have to do it and a possible response they're going to get, more people will.
If people don't go back and listen to that, what you just said, and realize the simplicity and go back and, you're not standing there looking at a top producer. Of course, you may end up being a great producer, but the bottom line is we are passing along the information and letting him make a decision. And you know what? I'm telling you now, if you don't go back and listen to this recording and go frame that, what you just did, and write it down, I would say, word for word, exactly how you did that. This is exactly what we've been talking about, duplicating your efforts. That's how you do it. It is so simple to make that phone call or make that connection no matter where you are and do exactly what you just did, Boomer. It's not
well,
hard.
you can thank Coach Joe for that.
Well, yeah, Boomer, you know what? With what we do, we can actually go up to people and say, hey, would you be interested in managing a gold business? I mean, how simple is that? I tell the story about, the building inspector and anybody else that the old 3 feet rule gets around me 3 feet. I'm going to ask them about the economy. And especially after what's happening today, guys, what a tremendous opportunity and what an easy way to strike up a conversation. Hey, did you see what the markets did today? Guys, the European market's down 5% today. And the United States market's down almost 3%, over 3%. Asian market's down almost 3%. All asset classes are down. And don't be rocked by the fact that gold's down too. I was on that early this morning, called some of my top analysts. Every single asset class is down across the board, including gold, because there's margin calls, which mean, I know a lot of people don't know what those are, but people are losing so much money so fast. If you ever watched that movie Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, when a day like that happens, you have to settle your account. And now with the volatility of the market, they're causing traders to settle up at noon and at the end and at the close. So they've got to liquidate their good positions, and so a lot of these traders are into gold too to hedge their portfolios, and they're up, and they have to sell it to raise the cash to meet their margin calls. So don't let that affect. We are sitting pretty. We're at the right place at the right time with the right company with the right product. And how awesome and impressive is it to be able to go up to someone and say, when they start complaining about whatever, the economy, their income, their portfolio, their wife, their dog, whatever, hey, if you need some extra money, would you be interested in managing a gold business? And see what they react. Gold? Are you kidding me? How? And get the 2-minute call out. That's a great line to use. It's very effective, and if they say no, hey, ouch, ouch, move on.
Precisely.
Let's go to this next. We got a couple more of these to cover, and then we'll take some questions. If you have any questions, hit 5-star on your telephone keypad. So top 2 things, no written goals, looking for top producers instead of becoming one. So become one. Get your goals written and become a producer. Now here's the third thing. I'm going to give you 3, 4, and 5 right in a row, and then we're going to talk about 3. The third one is probably as critical as the first 2, and it's no commitment, which means no action. You've got to be committed to what you're doing. Now, before we go to that, let me tell you the 4th and 5th. Number 4 listed, poor record keeping, being unorganized. Well, actually, the 2 of them together. 4 is unorganized, and 5 is poor record keeping. Isn't it interesting that in our industry, the same as the conventional business industry, that those 2 things are listed as the top reasons for not being successful? And they're in the top 5. They happen to be the top 2 in conventional business. But here, unorganized, waste too much time looking for documents in a cluttered desk, and poor record keeping doesn't keep accurate records of their transactions. So that's 4 and 5. We don't need to discuss any of that, but let's go back to 3. No commitment. That's all in capital letters. No action. You cannot control the result. You can only control or manage your activity. If you don't have a goal, and that doesn't mean just a lifetime, Joe said it earlier, a short-term goal, if you don't have it written down, you're not going to have the activity that you need. How do you get there? So you have to have a commitment every day, or every day that you're going to work this business. Some people are part-time, and they don't work 5 days, 6 days a week. They work 3 days, 2 days on a part-time basis. That's okay. But what are you doing those 2 days? What are you committed to doing? What do? You look at your daily planner and say, okay, I'm going to make these calls today. I'm going to do that until what? There's other part of the commitment. You don't just make the call. You make the calls until you get to your goal for the day. What is your goal? To make X amount of contacts. Forget the result. Forget about, how many people, that you dialed the phone with. Or what you have to do is make a commitment to the number of contacts you will make. Contacts doesn't mean hello, say no. Contacts really mean a person who has expressed an interest in what you're doing. You can't make 10 phone calls in 20 minutes and everybody say, no, I'm not interested, and say, I've made these contacts. They're not contacts. Contacts are people who say, as Boomer just described, played a message and said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your interest level? And they said, it was a 5, 6, it was an 8, it was a 9, whatever it was. Yeah, it sounds like you like me, but you need more information. Yeah, okay, great. That's shortened a little bit, but there's your contact. That's a contact. Talking to someone is not a contact. That's part of the activity that you manage, but it's not the contact. The contact is the person who expressed an interest and wants more information. And I think people don't understand that or didn't understand that and think that they're working because they dialed the phone and talked to some people. They're not contacts. So you have to commit every day to that daily planner, to having your activities written down, work your activities, and commit it. Part of the activity, part of that commitment is having the contacts on a regular basis, how many am I going to have? Everybody's different. You might want 5 contacts, 10 contacts, 20 contacts before you stop. If you have 2 hours to put in, 98% of that should be making contacts. The other 2 should be in maybe helping a few team members. But most of it should be for your own business, searching for a candidate who is interested in what you have to say. So marketing is what you do to get in front of people. So you're spending time marketing. Get your message in front of people. Sales is what you do when you get there. And we're not in a sales mode here. We're in the marketing mode where we put our information in front of people and have them make their own decisions. So people are afraid of sales. Why? Because it boils down to the topic we'll talk about next Tuesday is getting the commitment to the purchase. You have to ask for a sale when you get down to that. And if you can't do that, somebody has to. That is why people don't have a book of business, because they don't ask for the sale. And it's in every company, people get afraid to get down to asking what is your your commitment level here. Is it going to be 50, 100, 500? You have to ask those questions. But back to the commitment, you have to commit yourself to your business. If you don't get anything else out of this today, that word commitment is the most important thing, because every category we talked about is talking about a commitment. And so with that, Joe or Dennis, I know you're really committed to when you're on a roll with contacting people, you're committed to doing that until you get what you want. And so why don't you help us out with a little bit of the, over the years I've watched you be committed to your activity, and it's been great for me. I know that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to be Joe Norman right now. I'm going to use a lot of kind of word pictures. Johnny Appleseed on the front end, and you're a horticulturist on the back end. Just like Boomer's been saying, you've been saying, Joe, on the front end, it's really simple. Express your enthusiasm. Listen to what people are saying that they're looking for. Tell them that you found what they're looking for. Give them something to look at. Don't spend any time with them. If you're spending a lot of time on the front end, not being Johnny Appleseed, you're wasting your time and you're going to go nowhere. And at the end of the day, what you're going to do is you're going to violate the ultimate rule in this industry. Show beats tell. You can tell them this takes no time. You can tell them it's simple. You can tell them you don't need to know anything. But when you take 2 hours to tell them that it doesn't take any time, that little light bulb goes off in the back and they go, liar, liar, pants on fire. And you don't need to know anything, but you tell them everything. Liar, liar, pants on fire. So on the front end, it's really simple. Be Johnny Appleseed. And I mean it. Just walk around, poke a hole in that bag, and let the seeds fall where they may. Some are going to fall on rocks, some are going to fall on fertile soil. You can't control that, just as we've been saying, but that's another way of looking at it. But when somebody pops their hand up and says, I want to know more about this, or they do it in response to a question, as you were just saying, it's really simple. Keep it short. Go, damn, great question. Hold on a second. Get them to some place, which is a website, or some other live video presentation, as Boomer was saying, or bring them to someone on your team to answer the question. This is really as simple as asking a question. Are you looking? They go, yes. Great. Have them listen to something short. Do you have a question? What's your interest level? Boom. Whatever it is, go, great. And bring them someplace else. If you're using more than 10 words to present what we've got, you're making a big mistake, in my opinion. But it's Johnny Appleseed on the front end, horticulturist on the back end, because at the end of the day, I'd like my people to register thinking I'm a complete blathering idiot, that I don't know anything about this. It's pretty much true with gold and silver. But at the end of the day, I do know a lot about how to generate income from this, which I am, but I don't want them to know that up front. I want to just service their curiosity, their why, their desire. And all I do is be a traffic cop. I just direct traffic. I know they're driving around looking for something. I just try to get them where they need to go as fast as possible, as simply as possible, as safely as possible. The only way that I know to do it. That's why I said before, I'd never want to be the top guy in any company, because then it all falls on your shoulders. But I want to be attached to the top people, and anybody on this call is, because look who you're listening to here with Joe and Dan, and sometimes all the people who are on this call. They're here to service you. So you've got that. You can advertise that, as Joe Shoop said before. When it comes around, but I don't know anything. I don't know. Great. Neither did I. Matter of fact, I still pretty much don't. But I do know how to put people onto what you would listen to, send them to a website, and then get them to someone to answer the questions. Anything I did you can't do? No? Great. Let's get started. Really, really, really simple stuff, folks. And anyway, you guys are doing a great job. So, Joe, that's my 2 cents on this. Johnny Appleseed on the front end and horticulturist on the back end.
And you got it. Yep. Sorry.
Learn while you go, so that at some point you can be part of the question-answering process, like I can now, because I learned from scratch from Joe Norman and Cheryl Ann, and so I can actually answer substantive questions about Kinnabar quality, transaction-friendly, weights, et cetera, et cetera. I can do that, but I never do it when I'm showing it to somebody. I always hold that to myself, keep my cards close to my vest until I'm in a position for someone else to answer questions. Because once you're answering questions yourself, we'll get back into violating the ultimate rule, show beats tell every day. And you're telling them it's simple, you don't need to know anything, you can move forward, you can generate income, but you can do this, but you don't really need to know this industry inside and out. And then you proceed to show them that you're an expert in this now. They're going to go liar, liar, pants on fire. So that's it to me. It's simple. And along the way, though, you learn it, and that Joe Norman set it up so we can all learn it. Then at some point, when one of your people is talking to someone, they can put them on the phone with you, and you can go, aha, Kinnabar, holographically signatured, Swiss, free storage, transaction-friendly weights, a heat process into these cards. It separates it out from UVS. You can give all that stuff out when someone puts you on the phone to be the expert. Anyway, so that's my little 3 minutes of what I can contribute.
Well, we're looking at that and hearing that. It's I hear a commitment. That's first of all what you do, and you've been committed like that a long time, Dennis. I know that, and that's. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Joe or Boomer, but I think it's really important to understand that without commitment, you have no action. You've got to commit to your business here and write it down. What is it that you're going to do? And I think people need some direction in this. And again, we'll talk next week about getting to the point of all this activity is wonderful. Everything's great here. We're going to talk about how to talk to people. Boomer just laid it out. I don't know if you need any more instruction than listening to this recording and scripting that thing out again. I know it's been done many times, but do it again. And then commit to making X amount of calls, X amount of contacts, and do exactly what Boomer did. There's no big secret. There's no more information you really need. Just need to write it down and get it straight and start the activity. You have to commit to that activity. No commitment is no action. So if you don't commit to every time you're supposed to be working, that you said you were going to work, that you committed to work your KB business, you've got to have action. Without commitment, no action. And it just won't get done unless you do that. And we'll talk next week again about really how to ask for the sale. And if you can't do it and you feel as though I'm not equipped, I feel so funny to go in and ask. And I think that is a monster problem in all of sales. That's why people say, I hate sales. They hate it because they hate asking a person to buy something instead of doing what Boomer did and led them down that road to make the commitment themselves. They're the ones who want. Why wouldn't they want to purchase gold? Why wouldn't they want to? You know what? I learned something from Cindy last night. It was so simple. I just never, my brain wasn't thinking that way when somebody came on the call from another country, from India, and said, or from the U.S., but have contacts in India, and said, how do they purchase? Can they take possession of the gold? And Cindy made it very clear Why would they want to take possession of the gold? This is a savings account. You don't start saving in a savings account and go take your money out. If you want to do that, put it in your checking account. And it just, I mean, it really hit home for me to say, I mean, what a simple answer. Why do you need to know how to take possession of it? We store that. You don't open a savings account and then take the money out and bring it home, right? You put it in there for a reason. You don't take possession of a 401k. It's there for the future. And that's why you save gold or any savings account. It's there for the future, not for now. And so, anyway, I learned that last night. There's so many things we can learn, but you've got to be committed to your goals. You've got to be committed to your activity, and without that, there'll be no action. So, Joe, there are the 5 things I wanted to talk about today: the written goals, the top producer. Stop looking for that producer. Just get your activity level up and looking for average, ordinary people who want to succeed and have a successful business. That is what we do. We teach people how to have a successful business from home. And I wrote this down today from you, Joe. I think you're the one that said it, about a gold business. I manage a gold business. Would you be interested in managing a gold business? I mean, what a tremendous question. You think that wouldn't raise curiosity? That's what motivates people. 5 things: friendship, curiosity, need, and greed. And in our business, it's curiosity. What a perfect question for curiosity. Would you be interested in managing a gold business? That's unbelievable. But
I agree.
5 things I want to talk about. So if we can, we're going to continue on next week about the rest of them and talk about them and maybe help some people out. I'm learning stuff today myself here. So those 5 things, you want to comment on those, Joe and Boomer, and then we'll open up for some questions. *5, 5-star on your telephone keypad.
Sure. One thing here is, Joe, on mykbgold.us, under the More tab, under affiliate training tips, under the 5 foundational components, he leads a script here which really takes away the direct ask for the sale approach. It puts it in the form of a question as Bill or Mary, where do you see yourself getting started? And that actually institutes a mindset of duplication that somebody else can do, that doesn't say, that doesn't confront. It actually leads someone who's already walking in the right direction. So if you haven't reviewed that, or if you only reviewed it once, go back and look at that. mykbgold.us, the More tab, affiliate training tips. Click here, 5 foundational components, and you will see down in the middle body of that, it actually leads a perfect way for anybody to duplicate this, to get them to move into the purchase plan options. The difference between marketing and sales: marketing is the opening of outlets while simultaneously moving a good and service. Sales, opening an outlet, that is like opening a McDonald's. Sales is the guy behind the counter selling you a hamburger. You have to do a combination of both, and that's exactly what networking excels at, with a low overhead, the ability for anybody anywhere in the world to participate in a program. And we have one that doesn't cost anybody anything to join, free marketing tools, and it doesn't cost them anything when they actually move the product or service. They're actually transferring one declining money into an appreciating money. So, I mean, I don't even know if there's anything else out there that can compare with what we do.
Let's take some questions, guys.
Let's see what we have here on here. And, Joe, by the way, just so you know, I mean, if you can log into this as well while I'm on here, too. I just didn't know if you knew that. But
okay. Well, I'm actually watching CNBC. I'm watching the markets here. So.
All right. I'm just telling you, I'm just saying that just in the event I do that, just to, even when someone else is on sometimes, just to make sure. Okay, so any questions? 5-star on your telephone keypad. 5-star telephone keypad. Questions? Any questions? No questions. I don't see any questions. Must have covered everything.
Well, it usually takes them a few minutes to figure out how to raise their hand, and I know there's questions. People have questions.
5-star.
5-star.
There we go. Got one there. More questions. 5-star telephone keypad. Bob, I'm going to unmute your line, area code 828 here in Hickory, North Carolina. And there you go, Bob. Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Quick question. I've got a guy up in Canada. He said he was trying to make a purchase yesterday. Just curious if the site is up and running. He said he wasn't able to find a spot to buy. I know it's been under construction. They're working on it. Do you know when it's going to be up and running? And besides that, I told him not to buy yet today. I told him to wait till tomorrow or see when gold starts going back up. But any ideas on that?
Well, A, the website's never been down. B, we've always been able to buy gold and register people. The only thing that was down or disabled, or those aren't even the right terminologies, but the back office dashboard and also the points on display are still in a transition state with the software. But the dashboard is displaying accurate contracts on your level 1. In other words, the people that you've personally brought into the business. But it's going to show a lot more data. There's some just fantastic enhancements coming. I was conversing with them this morning, and it's going to take the programmers some more time. But you're going to see iterations of what's coming, maybe even as early as this afternoon. But there's a lot more features, functionalities, and layers of data that we'll have access to that are going to be very, very exciting. So just stay tuned to that. But Bob, he could have bought yesterday. He could buy right now, today. Everything is fully functional, and if he just can navigate his way through that, which I always try to be on the phone with somebody. It's back to the analogy of going to a bank, and you'll be sent to a desk with a representative to set up your account and to make your initial deposit. And I think we should treat it the same way. I know it's not always realistic, but it's always best to walk someone through a purchase from start to finish, including if they do a large enough purchase, to walk them through the delivery platform. And by the way, Lloyd Merrifield, Boomer, wouldn't you agree? That video he did is just outstanding.
Dude, the guy's a rock star. Lloyd, you're a rock star, bro.
It takes people from when you've registered your account, it takes them in, shows them how to upgrade to affiliate, shows them visually and with audio and visual tools, shows you how to do your KYCs, shows you then how to go in and buy gold, and then after you've done that, it shows you how to go in and request delivery. Everything from start to finish in, 9 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that?
Well, superbly done.
It's just fantastic.
It's on KB Stadium, too.
Yeah. Yep. So it's
okay.
Great, and it's getting better every day.
Let me see if we have any more questions here. It doesn't look that way. And Bob, thanks for your question. And any more questions? Going once, going twice, and we are not there. Okay. Well, anyway,
Joe, real quick, let me give credit where credit's due. I know there's a lot of people that may have logged in late, and you probably see that on the dashboard. But again, if you have not seen or listened to the women's call, the Breakfast Club special Wednesday evening with women, that it features the leading women of KB Nation, Cindy Belmonte, and oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank, Kennedy.
Deanna, yeah.
Joe, help me. Deanna Kennedy.
Deanna, yeah.
They just did a fantastic job last night. I listened to it this morning and was just blown away. And you're right. It just totally gave us a different perspective. You know, us guys, you know, we don't see the world through the same pair of glasses these girls do. And in many, many, many ways, they're much better at this than we are. They're much more sensitive than we are. Most of them are a lot smarter than we are, right, Boomer?
Man, you amen to that.
So it's just a fantastic. It's right in line with Dr. Dennis's Elephant and the Blind Man. I mean, these guys. I mean, I think they shed light on a totally different elephant. You know, and so I just can't encourage people enough to as soon as we get that embed code, it will be on the recorded video page of mykbgold.us. But in the meantime, it's at the Facebook Stadium page. It's at the Team One Facebook page. It's all over YouTube. In fact, it's let's make it a YouTube sensation by having so many views that it'll put it into rock star status, which I think could very, very easily happen. So kudos to you, Joe, for putting that together and promoting it. And I really tip my hat to the job that those two girls did. Just fantastic stuff.
And what we're going to be having here in the future, Joe, is we've arranged for more people to be on that panel with Cindy and Deanna. There'll be a couple more women in there. We'll be organizing that in the next couple of weeks. Cindy will be actually, and be able to have a discussion on this panel and have some education on what it is that they're doing. Everybody does something different. How are they managing their business? How are they conducting their conversations? How are they finding the committed people or the interested people? There's going to be some great topics, and once in a while they'll invite some of us men to maybe participate once in a while. But I don't know that they need us, to be honest with you. But it might be nice to hear Boomer on there with some education on the dialogue and so on, and I think it's great. I really do. I support this call. I think it's going to be a major hit here in our company, and I'm excited about it. It was so professionally done. It was phenomenal. I'm just very excited myself.
Well, I know we needed a breath of fresh air and a different perspective. I know, Joe, we talked about we get tired of hearing ourselves talk, and we need more leaders to step up. And one that I'm working with just about every day, Bob Christensen down in Hickory, North Carolina, and he asked a question earlier, but man, this guy's a rising star, and he's just very quietly building a very awesome footer and foundation for his business, and he's got some major hitters already involved that really don't fully realize what they have their hands on, but guess what he did? He was the messenger, not the message, connected him to me and other tools. And today we're going to follow up with them with three-way calls to shed some light, so hopefully they will know and recognize and fully understand and appreciate what they have their hands on, so they can fully sink their skills and contacts, credibility, and influence into it. And I just have to give credit where credit's due, so congratulations to Bob Christensen.
Oh, great. Want to close us down here?
Pardon me, Joe?
I said you want to, Boomer, if you're still there, you want to close us down here?
We still have the 3 p.m. Eastern event today, right?
Yes.
Joe, why don't you do that?
Well, that's kbgoldevents.com, kbgoldevents.com. All you have to do is go to that URL, go to that website, about 5 minutes till 3 o'clock if you're Eastern time like me, or if you're like Boomer Pacific, it's about 5 minutes till 12 noon. Just go to that URL, and you'll catch about an hour-long global video broadcast that John Alfiers, Cindy Belmonte, which you'll get another taste of Cindy's style and approach, and just oozing class and professionalism. These guys just do an awesome and fantastic job, and they are going to be live on the air in about 3 hours from right now. So, again, This the second round or round two of getting repetitions of this information. And if you are brand new, I think you'll appreciate and enjoy that broadcast very much. So that's kbgoldevents.com. It is not a conference call. It is an actual video broadcast. And it's a very well done professional broadcast indeed. So I guess we'll close now, guys. Having said that, for the whole panel and all the hosts, this is Joe Norman. You guys all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you all at the top.